Ravenswood, a small town.
I'm a horror
was
writer by
preparing for
profession,
Halloween.
and although I
The
typically
streets were
dabble in
swarming
fiction
with witches,
and the occasional
zombies,
true
and
crime,
fairies.
the following
However,
story
a
has been
forgotten
passed down to
story in the
me by my
history of the
grandmother
town,
from her
which changed
childhood
this
during the Great
Halloween
Depression.
in a scary way.
It's one of my favorite stories that she
Centuries
shared with
ago,
me, but to her,
an evil
this is
famous
one for the
witch who lived
archives of the
just
Twilight
outside
Zone,
Ravenswood,
as
was
it's one of the
known for her
scariest
dark
things that she's
magic.
ever experienced.
However, Morgana, who was
Down in the
captured and
hollers of
burned by the
Tennessee in
residents of the town,
1938,
left a curse
my
on the
grandma
town
was 8
before she
years old,
died.
and the eldest
Every
girl of
Halloween,
the 7 kids.
Morgana's curse falls on the town.
They didn't have
and
much as far as
releases evil
possessions
spirits.
went, but the one
This
thing that was
Halloween,
beloved by all the
young
family
people of the
members
town
was their
decide
large
to visit
oak radio
Morgana's grave
that was sitting in the
for a
room
Halloween
closest
party.
to the kitchen.
However, something starts to go
After
wrong
dinner,
in
the
this
kids were
cemetery.
allowed 1 hour of radio time
Morgana's
while my
curse
great-grandpa
awakens
sat
again.
in his chair,
Dark
and
spirits
my
descend on the
great-grandmother
town.
was cleaning up the kitchen
Young
from
people
supper.
must join hands to end the curse and
They
send the
enjoyed
dark
programs
souls
like
back.
Little Orphan Annie,
However,
Edgar
dealing with
Bergen,
Morgana's
and Charlie
treacherous
McCarthy,
magic and curse
and the Lone
will
Ranger.
not be easy at
But
all.
on this night,
the town
the
of
show they
Greenwood
thought they
had
were going to
begun
listen to was
preparations for
interrupted
Halloween,
by a
as it
special
does every
bulletin from an
year.
unknown source.
This year, a new party
The
mask
younger
was
kids were
supplied
getting
to the
restless
local
until
costume
Paul told them to
store.
hush up.
The mask is called Cursed
Your grandma
Face.
said that the look on Pa's face
Townspeople
made her
thought that
scared,
the cursed face
and her
mask
hands
was
started
an
to
excellent
tremble.
option.
She knew
However,
something was
rumors
very
began
wrong.
to appear that the people wearing the masks
As a
began
lull
to
of
behave
quietness crept
strangely.
over the house,
At first,
the man's
everyone
voice
thought
spoke
it
in a
was
tone
joke,
that was very
and as more
unsettling.
and more people put on the
Pa leaned
masks,
forward as the
they
news
began
broke
to
that
lose
Martians had
control.
landed in nearby cities
On Halloween
and were
night,
attacking
when
its
the people
citizens
gathered in the
and
town square
buildings.
put on their masks, things got
Suddenly,
completely out of hand.
Ma dropped her plate on
Those
the wooden
wearing
floor.
masks were
It
filled
broke
with a
everyone's
violent
concentration
rage and attacked
as their
everyone
dog
around
barked
them.
loudly on the outside
The
porch.
inhabitants of the town had become aware
Pa
of the
bolted
curse
from
that
his
the
chair,
masks carried.
took the shotgun off the wall,
However, they
and
could
slammed
not
through the
take off
screen
the
door.
masks. If the people
The
wearing
younger
the
kids
masks
were starting
could
to
not take
whimper
off
and
their
cry
masks,
as my grandma
they
held
would
them
remain
tight.
the cursed face
A
forever.
loud firing of a shotgun blast pierced
Townspeople
through the
had to
night
find a way to take
as the
off
dog's
masks
bark
and
became
put an end
even
to
more
Halloween.
erratic.
For Halloween,
Grandma
Hazel finds
recalled
an
later that she
interesting
wasn't
mask
sure
in her
why Pa
father's
had fired the
old
gun,
antique store.
but they always thought that since the
mask
dog was so
resembles the face of a
fixated on
tall
a certain
witch,
part of the tree
and the
line
owner of the
back behind
antique
their
shop
house,
claims that the mask was once
that if
used
Pa
by
shot
a
into the
real
air,
witch.
it would scare whatever could have been in the
Hazel
woods away.
decides to use this mysterious
But no
mask
one
at a
truly
Halloween
knows but
party.
him, and he
When
never
you
liked
put
to
on the
talk
mask,
about it.
strange things
Pa
start to
busted
happen.
back in through the door with the
mask
worried
begins
expression
to
on his
control
face.
Hazel and instills
He hadn't seen
evil
anything,
impulses in her.
but the fact was,
Hazel
it
cannot
was
get
only a
rid
matter
the
of
effect
time.
of the mask
The Martians
and
would be
begins to
moving out of the
used
city
for evil
and making their way
purposes.
towards the countryside.
Hazel's
their
friends
farm
notice
was.
this change in her.
For
And as
Pa,
they scramble to
there was
remove
no time
the
to
mask,
lose.
they discover the true
There were already
power of the
rumors of
witch's
impending
mask.
war. And now that
In order
idea,
to remove
had
the
some
mask
unknown
and save
creatures
Hazel,
were taking over
they
the
will need to
planet,
solve a
was
dark
enough to make him
secret.
want to take his
Small
wife and
town
kids
of
to some place
Willowbrook was
until they could
preparing for
return home,
Halloween night
and hopefully,
with great
the farm would
enthusiasm.
still be
The
intact.
streets were teeming with witches.
He told Ma to
ghosts
get the
and
kids ready.
monsters.
They'd be out in the
Everyone was
truck in
looking
5
forward to
minutes.
dressing up in costumes and collecting
The younger
sweets.
kids didn't know what to do.
This year,
They've
it
never
felt
seen
like
their
the
daddy like
spirit
this
of
before,
Halloween had
and they never
changed.
wanted to again.
With the sunset,
As my grandma got their
strange
coats and
events
shoes
began
on,
to take place
grabbed their
in the
blankets
town.
off their beds,
The street
and jumped
lights
into the
suddenly
back of
went
the
out.
truck.
Witches seemed to come out of
All the
everywhere,
while,
and it
she
made
could
the
hear her
town
parents
feel like
arguing
there
back
was
and
no
forth
way
about
out.
what to take and what not to take.
A group of young people gathered
Leave
in
it.
front of an
Leave
abandoned
it all.
house.
We don't
right
have much
next to
time.
the town's old cemetery.
Get in the damn truck and do as you're
Everyone
told.
was saying that black wizards
From what I've
once
been
lived
told
in
about
this
my
house,
great-grandpa,
and they came back
he never
on
drank
Halloween.
nor swore. But on
As
that
the night
chilly
progressed,
October night,
the teenagers
the
were
man had
confronted
cursed
with
enough to make a
terrible
good
events.
Christian blush.
Mysterious
But he
noises
knew that his
inside
wife
the
and kids'
house,
lives
the
were in
presence of
danger.
Ghosts and encounters with
Slamming
witches
the door of the truck,
created fear,
she could hear my
horror in the
great-grandmother
town.
muffle quiet sobs
The young people
as she
had to
looked
gather
up towards
their
the
courage
sky.
to bring back the spirit of this Halloween.
all did.
And save the town
As
from
Pa
the
drove like a
influence of
bat out of
black
hell down the
wizards.
dirt road
However,
and deeper into the
tonight was
backcountry.
really a magical and scary
Nothing.
Halloween. As Halloween
Nobody saw a
approached,
thing.
the small town
No
of
bright
Elmwood
lights
was
or
filled
noises
with
from the
excitement
sky.
of this special night.
Only the sound of
The
wildlife
streets are filled
and the
with
crackling of
colorful
branches in the
decorations.
woods.
Everyone couldn't wait to put on costumes
Suddenly,
and collect candy.
the truck stopped and turned
But a
off.
dark secret lay beneath Elmwood.
They were consumed by darkness, and the kids began to cry.
The curse of the famous witch Augusta Augusta Blackwood,
great-grandma got
who
out
once
of the
lived
truck
in
to
this
check on
town,
them,
still
as Pa
persisted.
got out and walked towards the
When
edge
Augusta
of the
died on
woods,
Halloween
gun in
2,
tow.
her spirit had returned
He
and
was just
unleashed a
looking up at
curse
the
on
sky
town.
and wiping his brow
This
with his
curse, which
handkerchief.
seemed like fun at first glance,
As he came back,
was starting to lose
he told the
one
kids that they
person
were
every
going on a
year.
camping trip to
This
keep
year's
them from
victim
getting
was a
scared.
young girl,
He
Sarah.
was going to head back to the
Sarah
house
was
and
planning
check
to
on the
perform a
radio for
ritual
any
at
further
the old witch
updates.
cemetery in Elmwood
She knew this
Forest
was a
on
bad
Halloween
idea.
night.
She
His
was so
friends had
afraid
joined
that
him
she
to
would
break
never see her
Augusta's
Pa
curse
again.
and save the town.
As the
However,
kids piled
as the
out of the
night
truck,
progressed,
they
strange
leaned up
events
against
began
nearby
to take
trees
place in
and
the
laid their heads
cemetery.
back. as
wind
Pa drove back
suddenly
toward the
stopped.
farm.
The trees became silent.
My
The
great-grandma
sky
was
glowed a
walking around with the
frightening red
youngest
color.
just to get her to calm down.
Sarah and her friends felt that the
As
ghost
she
of
was doing
Augusta was
this,
watching them.
she looked at one of my
When
uncles
Sarah proceeded
and
to
asked
complete
if
her
they were
ritual,
going to die.
Augusta's ghost appeared and
He shook his
approached
head
the
and
young
said,
girl.
"Of course not.
What was
We're
the
your
real
brothers. We're
purpose
the
of
men of the
Augusta?
house while Paul's
Will
gone."
they be able to end
Nothing's
the curse?
gonna happen
Or will
as
the
long
town
as we're
of
here?
Elmwood remain in the grip of darkness forever?
This made her feel a
the
lot
small
better
town of Willowbrook
as he
was
got up
specially
from his spot
preparing
against
for
the tree
Halloween.
and walked
Shops
over
were
to their
decorated
mom.
for Halloween celebrations.
Grandma remembers
The
her mom
streets
brushing
were
her brother's head
overflowing with
and
scary
kissing it with a
decorations.
light thank you.
But this Halloween of
She wasn't
Willowbrook
sure how
was
much
not going
time
to
had
be
passed,
like any
but
other.
she was getting sleepy
A group of
and
children
closed
came
her
across
eyes.
an old shop selling masks
Before she
specially
knew
made
it,
for Halloween
everyone saw
night.
headlights coming down the
The
road
owner
and
of
towards
the
the
store
edge of the
claimed
woods.
that these masks came from the past.
Everyone was
and
startled
had
that
real
she wanted to
powers.
cry,
The
but her
children
voice
got
was
ready
caught
for
in her throat.
Halloween night by buying these
Martians,
masks.
they're coming
However,
for us.
when the masks were put on that night,
Thankfully,
strange
it wasn't.
things started to
It was
happen.
just Pa returning back to
Children
them
wearing the
with a
masks
relieved
became
look on his
unable to
face.
recognize each other. Each
She
mask
knew her
had a
mother had
strange
to be
power that
expecting the
changed
worst,
the person
but
it was
her
wearing.
Pa just hugged her.
Although
She told
at
her it
first
was all
these
over
exchanges
and they
seemed
could come
like
back
fun,
home now.
It wasn't too late to
As
realize
she rounded
that
up
there
the
was a
kids,
cursed force
she told them that
underlying
everything
the
was
masks.
okay and it was safe to come home.
As Halloween night progressed,
It wasn't until
effect
the
of
next day that
masks
they found out
increased.
through the radio
The town
that
of
the
Willowbrook was
Martian
thrown into
invasion
chaos.
was actually a
Children
radio
could not
show
take off
just in
the
time for
masks.
Halloween.
The town fell
And
into
it was the
grip
telling of a
fear
book,
and horror
War
on
of the
Halloween
Worlds.
night.
Mr. Olson
they
Welles
must
had
find a
fooled
way
them
to
all
break the curse
and
of the
scared an
masks
entire
and
nation
save the
into
town.
thinking